All right, welcome everybody to another Wednesday Product Spotlight. We are in Denver, Colorado, and we are here all week. And today we are sitting in Simple Homes panelized manufacturing facility, and we're going to do a walkthrough of this factory. And we're going to be going to McStain Homes. We have somebody over in a community that Simple Homes has built, and we're going to showcase that as well. So thank you to everybody that is tuning in and joining us today. At Dave Cooper Live, we are bringing you the people and the processes that are building it better. Our guests and topics include experts in building systems, building science, building codes, and the tech used to build it better. We're going to get into a little bit of that today, which is exciting. We are always seeking out the best and the brightest in the industry to bring innovative buildings and show how they come to life. So, but before we do that, we always have to thank our sponsors, Forward Solutions Group, Ben Hershey and Joe Butler. They are a team of more than 175 years of experience developing and manufacturing for panelized and volumetric modular industries with best practices in development and implementation. They offer consulting with investors, developers, manufacturers, builders, and using offsite manufacturing methods. Forward Solutions is driving companies to succeed where others have failed. Please reach out to Ben at forwardsolutionsgroup.com and make sure you tune in on Thursday because Ben will be on our show for a special acquisition and merger announcement. Also, thank you to Howick. Howick is a pioneer in technology of precision light steel roll forming machines. For over 40 years, their commitment to innovation in cold form steel has also known as light gauge steel, precision manufacturing, uncompromising quality, and exemplary customer service have defined the Howick way. Their commitment underpins the competitive advantage enjoyed by their customers. To learn more, visit their website, howickltd.com. All right, there you have it, everybody. Thank you. We couldn't do it without our sponsors, and we couldn't do it without all of our support. So why don't we kick it off? You guys notice I have somebody sitting next to me today. Jeff, say again, Hopfenbeck, CEO of Simple Homes. Jeff, thanks for having us in your facility today. Thank you for letting us walk through and interrupt everybody doing what they're doing and pull your project managers and stuff aside. Jeff, we ask everybody on the show, tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got here, how you got started. We want to know everything from the moment you were born to this very moment in time. Don't leave out any of the good stuff because we will call your mother.
All right, bam, all right. Jeff Hopfenbeck, co-founder and CEO of Simple Homes. Grew up here in Colorado, had always had a passion for architecture, construction, design, all of that. Thought I wanted to be an architect growing up. Went to architecture school briefly during undergrad. It was the depth of the recession. Not a great time to become an architect. And so I decided that wasn't the path I wanted to go. Ended up starting my career in philanthropy and then in the startup space as well for an accelerator, venture fund, and private equity fund. At that point, sort of said I want to go into housing. So I got my MBA here at CU with a focus on real estate development. Ended up getting kind of a random opportunity to go work for McKinsey, the big global management consulting firm.
Sure.
So I spent a few years there as another bit of a detour from kind of where I wanted to be, but spent a lot of time while I was there working on robotics and automation and manufacturing and mining context. And then also in the private equity space. And, really kind of the spark for what we're doing here was kind of in part out of that experience. And it's really seeing the truly phenomenal impacts we were seeing from robotics and automation, particularly in manufacturing context. And sort of saying, all right, well, how could some of that technology be adapted to home building and construction? And, from there, learned about Sweden, which we really see as this fascinating case study on kind of what industrialized construction looks like at scale. And I imagine we'll get into that a little bit. And we started the company just about 2 years ago. Initially, myself and my co-founder, David Schultz, who's a home builder here in Denver. And then we brought on John Schwartz, who's our sort of head of design and engineering, and kind of off to the races. So we built a prototype unit kind of inspired by some Scandinavian building techniques in early sort of March of 2019. Went out, raised money, opened up this facility at the end of 2019, and have been really kind of off to the races since then.
So there's a couple of interesting things here, but first I want to congratulate you and all the winners. Solar Decathlon, it was your product that was used to win that for the University of Colorado Boulder, which I think is absolutely amazing. So congratulations to you and the whole team here. That's a big deal. to pull that together. The other thing that I think is super amazing is walking through your facility and the size of the facility and how you do your construction. You've taken the approach that we're going to focus on the BIM, the digital twin first, and then we're going to focus on how that automation works in our manufacturing facility. And from our conversation, what you're finding out is just by implementing the technology and the data points up front, it's already started to streamline your process and production. Is that accurate?
100%. Yeah, I mean, we, I honestly say that's kind of an evolution in our thinking from the very early start of the company. Right. I think what we realized early on is that within construction, on-site, off-site, the industry writ large, the data flows to drive effective automation are often not there.
Right.
Folks have figured it out in some context, but in terms of kind of the mass customization, high variability that is within a lot of markets we see here in Denver, the kind of digital infrastructure doesn't really exist. And so that's where we've kind of decided to make our investments early on, is really on that sort of on the data link, and then using that data infrastructure to drive improved productivity, both in terms of labor, but then also in terms of automation.
The other thing, so from private equity to offsite construction, we're seeing a lot of people that weren't traditionally in this space coming into this space and utilizing the technology that is out there, just as you've mentioned. What was the driving force to have, like you just wake up one day and say, I'm going to go from private equity to starting a manufacturing facility, and I mean, because that's a whole different world.
Totally different world. Not quite that quick, but pretty darn close. No, I mean, I'd always had a passion for this space. I'd always wanted to be in this space. Yeah. It's what I spent my kind of free time thinking about. And, I think at some point, I'm sure sort of any entrepreneur listening has had that same moment where you can't not do it. Right. And I just became kind of obsessed with it and spent a bunch of time over in Sweden, visiting factories, touring job sites, and just kind of saw that there was a there. And that's really what kind of decided, led me to take the leap.
Yeah, so. For sure. And the digital infrastructure you created, it's to me another example of how you're using technology and using the data points. For instance, we're going to show it. You're using lasers on the panelization line for layout, nailing patterns, and what have you. And again, we're going to do a walkthrough on this. So if you're just tuning in, we will be doing a walkthrough through the manufacturing facility here at Simple Homes. Bringing this, how hard was it to bring the technology, the BIM, the digital twin, the laser technology, and implement what you have going on in the manufacturing facility? Because I bring that up, you have a lot of younger people working here. This isn't the aged out manufacturing facility that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, there's definitely been a lot of learning and a lot of challenges along the way. But we're getting there. I think there are some fundamental challenges within the software platforms that are generally commercially used within the AEC industry in terms of using that data within manufacturing processes. For example, Autodesk's Revit is kind of the industry standard in terms of what most architects and engineers are using these days. It is not built for manufacturing. And so we believe that building on top of that industry standard is really important in terms of connecting to the work that other stakeholders are doing within the construction process. But that software tool has a lot of nuance in terms of figuring out how do we connect that to a CNC saw? How do we connect that to a laser system? How do we use that data in our procurement process? And so there's been a lot of learning there. Finding the right team on a software side to develop a lot of those tools has been pretty challenging. But
I'm sure it has been, but at the same time, when you have the newer team, they bring new ideas to something they're learning versus somebody who's already set in their ways. Walk us through, before we get into the walkthrough of the plant, can you walk us through what is the process? Hey, I want to build a home with you. As a consumer coming to you to build something, how does the process begin and end, and what tech do they get to see or not see during this process?
Yeah, so as a consumer, the way we engage with kind of individuals is really on the design side of our business. So we have a full in-house architecture firm, licensed architects on staff. We're doing end-to-end design work, much like any other architecture firm. In that work, we're focused on delivering a product that is kind of a Scandinavian-inspired aesthetic. We think that there's an opportunity there. So simple forms, easy to build. Mm-hmm. And that is really optimized for our building system. And so from a kind of individual consumer perspective, the way they engage with us there is we use 3D as a part of every single part of the design process. We use a lot of kind of real-time virtual reality tools to really make those homes kind of real for our customers, whether those customers are an individual or those customers are a developer. So we design these products in-house and then obviously manufacture that. That's kind of one portion of our business. The other way that we engage, which today is actually the majority of our projects, is we're engaged by a builder, by a developer who comes in and says, either maybe I've got concepts I'm working on with an architect, or I've got fully fleshed out construction drawings similar to McStain. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And in that process, we're then translating those drawings and those files to basically create our digital twin. So we're fully building out every piece of framing, every piece of hardware is all in that 3D model. We'll use that with customers to do virtual frame walks, do some of the clash detection that is pretty common in commercial, but is not very common in residential construction today. Right. So walk through some of those processes, use that 3D model for that tool, and then as we go into the construction process, we serve really as a subcontractor to general contractors and home builders, replacing their framer, then their lumber supplier and component manufacturer, kind of as all in one turnkey solution.
Love it. So first of all, the consumer of your product gets to do a virtual frame walk. Yep. In other words, a virtual frame walk is if I was walking into a house on site that was already framed, making sure the layouts are right, making sure the room sizes are what I want them to be. So you're doing that virtual reality style with your BIM 3D modeling software. Yep, exactly. And that, I think is something that is very common within commercial construction today. I mean, clash detection, BIM, big GCs have, often mega kind of BIM and BDC teams today. But within residential construction, it is unbelievably rare. And I think the expectation generally with a lot of builders is if you're building multiple models, the first model is basically a loser. You're going to solve all those problems on the first model and find out that, the HVAC line runs right into a steel beam and, then you don't want to soften in your kitchen. We are able to solve a lot of those problems up front. And that's, I think we have started to kind of show our builders the power of that and kind of getting things right the first time. And what about the cost of entry for somebody that's in manufacturing such as yourself? Because the reason a lot of BIM wasn't accepted, it used to be super, super expensive. Yep. Are you finding that cost of entry to start using the software, one, has come down, and two, is it saving you money on the back end, right? There's the unseen cost that you're not spending. So yeah. So in terms of the cost of software, the software itself is certainly quite expensive. I think historically the barrier has been less on the cost of the software, but there's definitely sticker shock there. And it's more on the cost of labor. You're having to spend hours with a pretty highly paid architect or engineer kind of going through that process. Tools generally are getting better. We've developed some of our own tools to automate a lot of those steps so that we can generate a fabrication model relatively quickly. In terms of kind of costs downstream, absolutely, there's savings there. I think, particularly within this crazy lumber market, the biggest opportunity there is material waste savings. So, with McStain, we actually did an apples to apples where we built a house that had been built on site and then took a quantity takeoff from both jobs, exactly what we used, and then exactly what was used on site. And we were realizing about a 10% material waste savings, which, in low lumber price environment matters, but maybe isn't a huge deal. With where we are at today in terms of lumber prices, that can be pretty meaningful. But as you scale, right, and as you're doing a couple hundred homes a year, 10% adds up to big, big numbers. Yeah. So, it does matter. And the other side within the field too, people are cutting off 30% and throwing it in the trash typically, right? Yep. And the dumpsters and everything else. So, all right, everybody, we are live on location at Simple Homes in Denver, Colorado. Please hit that like and share button if you are tuning into this. And also, remember, we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Rick, why are we live on Twitch? I
don't know when.
That's a good question, right? Because the young people are alive on Twitch.
All right.
A lot of young people are doing virtual reality
Yeah.
or games. They're not coming to us, so we're going to them, and that's what we've been doing. So if you're on Twitch, thank you for watching today. We've got a lot of great things happening in our industry right now. It's basically the gold rush, I call it, right? It is the gold rush. We're in last place when it comes to innovation. We're going to be first place. I keep saying we're going to be the new Tesla here before too long. With that said, we are getting ready to do a virtual walkthrough of the manufacturing facility here with Rick. And then we also have, what am I saying? I'm going to call you Rick.
You did.
I did.
Yep.
We're going to do a virtual walkthrough with Jeff. And then we have Rick Lambert from McStain at one of the properties that you guys have built. And we're going to show a finished product as well. And then we can talk about how the collaboration worked amongst you guys and the developer and the builder. And I think it's going to round everything out. So why don't I'll just call you Rick Jeff. Jeff.
That works. I'm easy.
Jeff Rick. Let me go in here. Let me pull up this file and let's walk through this property that you have. All right. So we have it on the screen. Why don't you walk us through where we are in this part of the video?
Yeah, for sure. So we're located in Denver, central Denver. We actually have a really amazing spot here. It's a 1922 historic railroad maintenance building.
Right.
That's an incredible place to get to work out of. So here, walking outside in the yard, like any component manufacturer, we're sourcing all the material pretty much mill direct at this point. Everything in our facility basically runs in through that door. So
Right. Got it. Now, I want everybody to know, let me just go a little further, and I'm doing this on purpose. This is the entire facility.
Yep.
Right here.
Yep.
And the goal with this facility by the end of this year, or second quarter, or third quarter, do
End of this quarter. Yeah.
one home a day out the door.
Yep.
Right? And how many square feet are we looking at here?
Got about 18,000 square feet of production. So
18,000. Now, some of the issues you run into with an older manufacturing building, right? This is a big deal because there's a lot of people looking to come into the space and they say, oh, we got a great open space. You run into a couple issues, and one being using cranes and overhead cranes.
yes, yeah, definitely. It's been one of the biggest challenges we've had with this facility. It's, a very old building, and have had a crane sitting in our yard for about a year now.
Right.
Ran into really substantial issues getting that installed. We found there's a tunnel that exists between our building and the building next door that we didn't know existed. So we'll get that finally installed in a week, which will speed things up quite a bit from a production standpoint. So
Perfect. Well, and that's going to be such a relief, right?
Oh my God.
All right, so walk us through where we're at here. We're on the first part of the line. I can bring it in a little bit here.
Yeah. So, I guess walking through here, it's kind of worth talking about kind of our philosophy in terms of manufacturing. We have, I think, as you mentioned earlier, Dave, made a pretty deliberate tack towards, in terms of our net new investment in kind of R&D and in technology, we're making those investments on the software side, and on the manufacturing side, we're focused on using largely tried and true technology, and then automating where it makes sense. So, we've got automated cutting, we've got some laser projection as well, which I'm sure we'll show in a minute. Looking for kind of thoughtful integration of that kind of digital thread from the BIM model to production floor. Because part of what we believe is that it's really hard to automate a process you don't know, and we're figuring out the process. So that has been our tack there. We are working on some kind of net new automation. We won a $1 million grant through the Department of Energy last year in partnership with actually McStain and then DuPont as well. Home Innovation Research Labs is also a partner on that project, which is looking at bringing in, using flexible industrial automation, so off-the-shelf industrial arms, and integrating that into our production process. So that's kind of the context. If you look here, this is just our main exterior wall line. Pretty straightforward, similar to what you see in most panel shops across the country. Manufactured by Triad. We've got framing, sheathing on that one station, an automated bridge on top of that for nailing off sheathing. That's really where we're cranking out today all of our exterior wall panels and most of our interior wall panels as well.
So this is where, so the line we just showed is where it begins. You start your exterior wall panels. It works this way. They get it framed out. It comes to the frame, or to the nailing machine, which we're looking at here.
Yep.
Right. And then just we've got a lot of people that are new to the industry and watching, so I'm trying to break it down for them.
Oh, yeah.
So as this comes through, and we'll get some video and some B-roll and put it out. This machine that we're looking at here actually is an automatic framing nailer. So it is with precision nailing all the studs to that wall.
Yep.
Zip sheeting.
Yep.
Why'd you guys choose zip sheeting over other other products that are out there?
Yeah, I mean, really from a kind of design to manufacture approach in terms of products we're using zip is completely optimal for us.
Right.
Just being able to have the integrated weather barrier. Part of what our differentiation in the market is that we're delivering very large format panels up to 40 feet long. We're delivering those panels with windows installed and the weather barrier pre-installed. And so it's kind of inspired by Sweden. And in Sweden, the norm is weather tight in a day.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you see. And so our goal is to be doing the same here in Colorado.
And
So,
weather tight in a day.
exactly.
All right, so here we're looking at, so it went through the framing, went through the first part of the framing, the sheathing's on, the nailing's been done. I see you have your grab hooks already in there for the craning, so that's already in place. You have your window openings all cut, right? And,
Yep.
Assuming that's what we're looking at here.
Yep.
And then down over to the left here, outside of your job boards back there, I wasn't even looking at those. This is where your window installation is starting to happen. as
Yep,
well.
that's correct. Yep, so we're installing windows mostly on the flat there, except for very large format windows. We then go vertical with those panels, and then we ship all of our panels vertically as well with that rigging pre-installed. And really the reason why we do that is about speed.
Okay.
It just speeds up the process in terms of on-site install. So our goal on site is to really go from the foundation to, trusses on in that first day that we're there.
So this is, I really want to get back there, because we show a lot of automation on the show. We show a lot of other high-tech stuff. But what I really want people to understand is it's going to take, because you're doing custom homes. This isn't just mass put it out there, and the whole world is not going to want just a mass-produced house that some of the other companies are doing. But the value of how you're building this with the digital twin, with the BIM, with the lasers, which we're going to get to, and we're going to come on the other side here once I start the video again, is really what's making a difference to be able to do a home a day.
Yep.
A home a day. That's, if we're doing, if you're working every day of the year, but you're 300 homes a year.
Yep.
Is what you're looking to do. And that's just starting here. The other thing that we didn't talk about in the beginning is you have a whole nother team in Krakow, Poland.
Yep.
That you have put together, got office, never been to Poland.
Never met
the team in person, right?
Nope, I have not.
Right, but you've set it up and you have a whole nother virtual design team working for you over there.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so we've got a team in Krakow who works with us on the fabrication modeling side. So a bunch of BIM designers, structural engineers like that.
Right.
Folks who work on our team over there, and then on the software side as well. So that's what we're doing. Our own software development is with our team over there. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey in COVID. We've started this, opened this office over there. I've never been there.
Right.
I've never met these folks in person. So yeah, it's been an interesting kind of lesson in like the new virtual world. So.
But you know what? Hey, listen, and if it's successful,
Yep.
You just learn how to do business without actually leaving your office and have, new team members and to really grow on this. But again, the value of this is you do not have to be highly automated in the manufacturing facility with multi-million-dollar robotic arms and machines all over the place. You can start, and we talk about this a lot, whether you're a modular manufacturer or a panelized manufacturer, you can start with them with two-dimensional or with digital twins and start designing and implement this technology in a cost-effective way to speed up your production lines and to really be efficient on what you do and to be very accurate on the product and on the installation. So I just really want to point this out to people because you're like a case study for me. I almost want to hug you. I'm like, all right, well, here it is, because this is different. You're using it in a way that lets you not get so in debt starting up, but allows you to do what you need to do to make money and grow your business.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would obviously that's been our approach and we believe in it. And I think, our part of our kind of belief in that is that, if you look at this industry and you look in the rearview mirror, the number of dead companies in the graveyard is tremendous. I mean, it is huge. There are so many dead companies in the rearview mirror. And so I think And one challenge that a lot of companies have run into, unless they're very, very, very well capitalized, is just the challenging complexity around really expensive equipment, making that work from a kind of return and payback perspective, and then being able to kind of force your way through that initial process, because no matter what, those machines aren't going to work when they show up. They're not going to work perfectly. Nothing's going to work quite right. And there's a learning curve. Yeah. And so, I think companies have gotten through that by being very well capitalized. But if you're not planning for that period of time where you're kind of suboptimal from a production standpoint, you can get pretty upside down.
Well, and this is something to really, think about as well, as far as not being upside down. We're not looking at, this isn't a manufacturing facility that's looking to put out 30,000 homes a year. Not yet.
Yet, at
least. Right, but maybe in multiple locations. And the graveyard is full. And this is what I've been trying to say to a lot of people out there. Start with the technology, because correct me if I'm wrong, the data and the analytics that you're collecting on your bin, your modeling, will eventually carry over into the DfMA to where it can be programmed into the machines out on the floor. And
exactly.
You're looking at that already.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, automation, robots, they're dumb tools. Yeah. Is X, Y, and Z, basically. It needs to go to a point in space. And so that tool will do what you tell it to do and is only as good as the data that is fed in. Right. And so that data link, that is the fundamental challenge. The robot or the automated nailer, or whatever the tool may be, if you provided the data, it will do the work.
Right.
But within our industry, that digital link, that digital thread is not robust today. It is not a kind of one-to-one relationship where you go off the shelf and say, this just works, like, let's go.
Yeah, for sure. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. Exactly.
It's coming. There's a lot of people working on it. Definitely a lot of people working on it. All right, let's go back here and walk through. So we're looking at a combi lift here, and that's what's moving your walls currently because of the underground tunnels. Was it old underground railroads or something? Like sneaking people through?
I have no idea.
Maybe there's gold.
We should maybe start digging.
But so hopefully in the next week or two, that'll be extinct, and you'll have your crane in overhead.
Exactly.
Awesome. Look forward to that success. All right, let's walk over here to make everybody sick for a minute. All right, so that's lifting obviously onto the transportation here.
Yep.
But down here is where these guys are doing the framing, putting the final nails on. Now, are these interior walls or exterior? These are exterior.
This is a mix. Yep. So we'll build on this on our center line here. We build often kind of more oddly shaped exterior walls, so special walls. It's also where we build floor cassettes as well. Okay. Rake walls, all kinds of funky stuff gets built on the kind of center line there.
And this is also, it's hard to see in this picture. I have another video that I'll pull up here in a second. But this is, there's lasers above that are shining down on this. They know exactly where to lay everything out, where to nail everything, where to cut everything, all from the laser print that came from the BIM and modeling software that's in here. I don't know if everybody can kind of see behind us here, but it's busy too. There's a whole side on this side, there's a whole side on that side of people working on this stuff.
Yep. Yeah, so we use overhead laser projection quite a bit, similar to, we'd seen a lot of truss plants, but using it for wall panels. From a quality perspective and kind of dimensions, so, we use CNC cutting, and then you combine that with the laser, and from a sort of overall dimension standpoint, it basically means we have a very strict built-in quality control process in addition to kind of our own quality process as well.
So this is now where, let's see, you can start seeing the lasers there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you are.
Yep.
When you're standing on top looking down, it's as clear as day. Trying to pick it up on the camera. Come on.
Yep, it's a little hard to get on the camera. Oh yeah, there it shows.
Yeah, no, we got it. So it's actually, and it's running all the whole gamut of where everything is, and you can actually see how it is laid out, which is, again, this is something that you guys are using in your manufacturing to help the team be more productive, to help them be more accurate.
Yep.
Less nail holes, less air infiltration, all the stuff that comes with it. But at the same time, this is technology as you grow and scale and do larger projects that you can take into the field. And we talked about that. It doesn't make sense right now in the projects you're doing, but this helps you verify everything that's happening.
Yeah, 100%. That's really, I think, in many ways, the next frontier for us and for the industry generally is how do we start taking that same data flow and bring that to the field to make folks more as efficient as they possibly can be in the field. Because that's, ultimately, our gains are won or lost in the field. We can be very efficient and effective here in the plant. In terms of our customers, that actually doesn't really matter. All that matters for them is that we're delivering their homes with a high degree of quality, way faster than anyone else. That's what matters. And so obviously this is a component of that, but ultimately the field is where the game is won and lost.
And what about waste? How much waste do you have on site when you guys are putting your homes together?
Almost none.
Almost none.
Yeah.
So like a 5-pound bag.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's in a kind of small trash can for a 2,000 square foot house.
Sure. And walk me through, because we're about the end of this video, walk me through like your floor, walls, right? And then you're trussing your roofs on site.
Yep, trussing our roofs on site. We also do build roof panels on some projects. We also do prefab sections of, in particular, like porch roofs, is something we frequently prefab here in the factory, and then fly that in as well. It's substantial time savings on site. We can build a porch roof in a couple hours here, maybe an hour actually. On site, that's going to take a guy, 2 guys, maybe a day.
And it's precision, and it's quick, it's easy.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, here we go. So we are coming back to the end of this. And then Rick, we'll be right to you in a moment as well. Am I still on my laser mark there? 1 second. All right, so we're going to walk through then the rest of the line. But I mean, this is the facility. You're doing an entire house a day in this one facility, panelized walls out the door.
Yep.
And what about the time on site? What is the time on site to put it together?
So out at Painted Prairie with McStain, we're around about 6 days right now. So basically from point where we're delivered the foundation to where we're handing it off for shear inspection and rough and MEP, 6 days. I think our goal over the next few weeks and months is to get that down to 5 days. That compares to, I think beforehand, somewhere in the 3.5 week timeline. So, and then, on bigger projects, the time savings becomes more substantial. So as we're doing, we do townhomes, we're stepping into the multifamily game this year as well. That's obviously where kind of the time savings associated with our system becomes really, really quite important.
In Simple Homes, how far do you take your product? So you have the framing on site. How much on site after that do you do once you get it installed?
So we're a full framing subcontractor. So we do kind of full framing scope of work. We assemble all the panels. We then do all the remaining work to basically get through both shear and rough frame inspection. We do back out. And we also do on-site siding and an exterior trim. Less because that's kind of a core part of our process, but more because it's really what our customers expect. They're used to, in this market, having that all under one roof, under one contract. And so we feel it's important to be as easy to integrate for our builders as possible. Being a builder is tough. You've got a lot of moving parts.
Right.
And so I think there's a hesitancy to things that are new and different and challenging and difficult to integrate.
Right.
There's always going to be some friction with any kind of new process, but we try and kind of take as much of that out as possible by kind of matching that scope of work that they would typically have from any other framing sub within the market.
Perfect. All right, everybody, listen, we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, and we are going to bring Rick Lambert in now. So we walked through the production process here at Simple Home. Now we're going to go to the field. We're going to see the real product. And once we bring Rick in, we're going to have to do a couple shout outs because we have some people out in the audience. I'm sure there's some questions out there as well. So why don't we bring Rick in? Rick, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good, man. Sorry, we got carried away over here. I hate to keep you sitting there so long, but there's a lot to talk about, right?
Absolutely. I was interested in hearing the conversation, so no problem.
So Rick Lambert, VP of Operations, McStain Neighborhoods. Rick, before we hop into this, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, what your background is. We want to know everything about you from the moment you were born to this very moment in time. If you don't tell us everything, we will call your mother, but you only have 2 minutes to do it. So the floor is yours, Rick. Let us know who you are, and then we'll hop back to it.
Right on. Well, grew up in Colorado, similar to Jeff, in about an hour south of Denver, in a town called Colorado Springs. Moved to Denver for undergrad. I attended the University of Denver, Burns School of Real Estate Construction Management. Got my undergrad degree in real estate finance. So also similar to Jeff, kind of graduated around the time of the Great Recession. So while I thought I would, kick off my career going and working for an apartment developer or, something along those lines, the, opportunities just were not as prevalent as I'd hoped coming out of school. So I went and worked in the field for a few years, did some land development type work out of school, and then, kind of started working on houses a little bit. And, I think eventually wanted to, get more involved in, kind of the planning and office side of the business. And so actually found a purchasing role with a big public builder here in town, and, sort of started learning the ropes as far as home building is concerned from the purchasing perspective, which was a really, good, interesting way to kind of get a broad view of the business and the supply chain and all the different players. Moved around, worked for a couple different builders, some of the bigger public builders. I've worked for some, smaller builders as well, early on in my career. And about 5 years ago, McStain was looking to build onto their purchasing team and decided to bring me on, and, I found my home and a company that, really aligns with my values. I mean, reason I think I got into home building, I've always been really interested in, neighborhoods, homes, the places that we live. And, so, this business really always appealed to me. At McStain, I kind of found a company with a long, 50-year history of building really, architecturally interesting, energy efficient, healthy homes. So, it was a great fit for my values. And so, ended up here, and, since then have kind of moved on, oversee the purchasing department currently, but my current role oversee, construction, permitting, all that sort of stuff. And so it's a great opportunity for me to really get involved in, building communities and neighborhoods and hopefully really great homes for people.
I love it. And Rick, that's what happens, right? You do a great job, you work hard, you get more work. That's what they do. Hey, no, but it's good. It sounds like you love it. So, Rick, we're going to go to some shout outs here, but before we do that, think about this. I'm going to ask you about Prairie, net zero energy ready community just outside of Denver, which you were part of helping develop. So we're going to get into that. You are sitting there right now in one of the model homes. So when we come back from some questions and comments, we want to learn more about this community. We want to learn more about McStain, and I also want to learn about how was it working together. Was there some learning curves or some lessons to learn? I'm sure there was. There always is. So why don't we do that after we come back from a couple shout outs and questions? Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, Jen, who do we have? All right, so we got Tiffany McCall. Oh, we got Eric in there. Eric Holt, University of Denver. What design software used? I heard Revit, but also heard that it wasn't good for manufacturing process. Did I hear that right?
Yes. So Revit is the basis. And then on top of that, you use both off-the-shelf plugins plus some of our own developed software to generate those models. And yes, Revit is a pretty challenging piece of software to use in terms of manufacturing integration. The level of detail that is often required for automated tools is frequently not there. So it is definitely challenging.
All right, thank you, Eric. Jennifer, who else we got? All right, LinkedIn user. Oh man, who are you? You're hiding your name. All right, was the original design done in Revit? Did you take 2D plans and convert them into BIM?
We operate both ways. So if we're designing it in-house, we're obviously building it all within Revit. If we are taking something that is already pre-designed, if there is a model, we'll always use that. But we also, if we take 2D plans, we'll translate those to our building system as well. We'll really ingest plans in whatever format our customers can provide them.
Got it. Let us know who you are. Sometimes when the LinkedIn carries over to our third-party platform, the name doesn't carry over. Definitely would like to know who asked that question. So thank you. Next question, Jen. Comments? Let me go here. All right. So we have Tiffany McCall, Pennsylvania, Stacy Henry from New Jersey, Julian Bowren, John Magnan, George Ryman, Eric Holt, Henry Mickler. Holy cow, people joined up talk to you, man. All right, we have Brad Sempt, graduate student, University of Denver, Nicholas Ream, Heritage Home Builders, Pedro Vieira from Brazil. Pedro Vieira, hey, love it when Brazil's in the house. We got France in the house. We have a global community. You're now in Poland. This just shows that the world is getting smaller, and we are going to all have to get along real well to keep this ball rolling. All right, Rick, back to you. Let's get into this here. Rick, tell us a little bit about the property you're currently at. Walk us through how long it took to put the property together, and the good, the bad, the ugly. We want it all, man.
Sure. Well, yeah, I'm in our showcase model out here at Painted Prairie, which for us is a collection of alley-loaded, single-family detached homes. They're all, kind of based around a side patio concept that if I kind of tilt my screen here, you guys can see. So we've got these wide sliding glass doors that, we've incorporated into the design for all these out here. It's a master plan community. So there's, several other builders out here, a couple private builders, a few of the bigger publics that we're competing with. But, all kind of have our different market segment, and, it seems to be a really great popular community. And as, everybody knows, the housing market out here in this market is on fire. And so I think it's, it's selling really well. We're just glad to be a part of it. We actually bought these as finished lots, Dave. So we didn't have a lot to do with the actual work of development on this particular project. But we do have several others. I mean, as a builder, we do, about half and half as far as buying finished lots from, other developers. We also do some of our own development. We've got a project in Thornton called Ayers Park that we're just kicking off here, that we, bought the raw ground, did all the infrastructure work, and, got entitled and ready to build on ourselves. So we do kind of both. I think from our perspective, as far as the brain damage associated with either, you buy finished lots, it's easier because you're not dealing with the development stuff, but you're a little bit more boxed in when it comes to what you can build, right? So on the development side, we kind of like that flexibility when we have the opportunity to pursue those sorts of projects, because we can really get involved in the land planning, create a great space, community, walkability are all things that are really important to us. And so we like working on both, but both present their individual set of challenges, but also advantages.
Yeah, for sure. Walk us through the collaboration between yourself and the manufacturing. And how did the design process come together for the community? And also, what were some of the ups and downs you guys had, as far as, were there any, or was it just smooth as silk? Don't lie to me.
Yeah, certainly. Well, so, I guess we kicked off this project, like we have done traditionally, where we bid it out to, traditional framing methods. All our plans were drawn up and really, kind of targeted towards the building process that we've used for 50 years here. Around the time we were sort of starting this neighborhood, I think, kind of the conversation with Simple Homes began. I know Jeff has connections, I think, from the past with McStain, and, we had been, like most builders, at least exploring the space of offsite construction. I mean, we're seeing the labor challenges that everyone else is facing right now. Obviously, the lumber commodity market is going nuts right now too. So, like others in the business, we're looking around and just trying to figure out, hey, is there a more efficient way to do this? Kick some tires, and I think we really liked kind of the values and just kind of the vision that Jeff and his group have. And so I think, what was it, probably mid 2009 or so, I think those talks got a little bit more serious. And, we saw Painted Prairie as kind of a great opportunity to, give the partnership a go. I think, if I had to point to the challenges, I mean, it really is, and I think Jeff probably spent some good amount of time talking about this. It really is that translation from, we developed plans based on, having a bunch of guys come out and hammer some boards together. And, I guess in all candor, those plans, I think in the process of working with Jeff and them getting it into their modeling and building their panels, I think we found some missing details, or, there might be some things, plan busts, those sorts of things that, are in your plans, but you don't really address them or hear about them because, the folks on site, if they run into an issue while they're, building the house, they call the construction manager over, he scratches his head, they figure out a workaround, and then they move forward, right? But, it's not that simple when you're building these panels in the factory. You don't necessarily know what works and what doesn't, or what was wrong on your original plans or not, until they come out here and you try to get them, stuck together, and you might, run into something. So I think a lot of our first year out here with Jeff and his team was really spent trying to find those, and not always errors, but those inefficiencies in our plans as it relates to an offsite construction method compared to more traditional framing. And so, it was certainly not a seamless, easy process, but it was worth doing. And I think in the end, I think we're building a better product, and there's all sorts of advantages, as Jeff has pointed out, on speed and waste and all those things, and it's been worth the work.
Yeah, Rick, and the other side is you have a whole factory of people behind you to resolve issues. This is these collaborations, Jeff, I mean, Simple Homes isn't a vendor you're a vendor, but you're not a vendor. You're really a partner in the whole process all the way through. So that adds to McStain's resources as well, outside of just being a trade for them or somebody you're hiring. The other side to this, and I want to get into it, is on the McStain part and your part, time savings. Everybody knows that it takes 1, 2, by the third project is when everybody starts feeling good together. And that's really where the efficiencies start coming together and start flowing. So from your end, Rick, are you seeing that? Did you feel the efficiencies in the beginning, or where you're at today? And moving forward, there's already things that you can get better at, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You go ahead, Rick.
I think it has. We've certainly improved over time. I think we kind of started off, Jeff. I mean, we picked one house model, right? And I think the first 3 or 4 that we built with you guys, we just wanted to focus on, let's get this model dialed in. And I think we got to a point, after a couple, where we're like, all right, we kind of know how to build this thing. We figured out some of the details that work better with offsite construction. I think there's a whole relationship with the municipality you're in. You got to get their buy-in and get their inspectors feeling good about what you're doing. And then we said, cool, let's go ahead and introduce the other plans. Of course, first time building these plans with Simple Homes, we ran into some challenges here and there, but we worked through them. And I think we've really seen here over the last several months, for sure, that now that the pace has picked up and we've built a few of each model with Jeff's team, that, yeah, I mean, for my team on site, it gets to be just an easier process, and there's more predictability. Certainly there's time savings. That, time is money, of course. So, going from 3.5 weeks to frame a house to, 5-6 days was Simple. There's obviously savings there, but, there's also advantages from, I really think, both the quality and consistency standpoint and the predictability. I mean, we've started getting to the point here where, Jeff's getting the house up, he's going in, they're doing their thing here in 5-6 days. We're calling our shear inspection, and we're starting to pass that first time every time. And that's great because, with the trade base the way it is, the big challenge for the guys in the field, the construction managers, is making sure that you can get the tinner in, as soon as you pass that shear inspection. And so I think an element of this too that has been beneficial for us is, we know, all right, Jeff, you guys are going to be done on Tuesday. I can call my shear inspection Wednesday and have my HVAC come in there Thursday to get things moving.
Well, and that's where the efficiencies start building, and I'm sure that's what also the collaboration comes in, where you're learning from the developer and vice versa. And speed and knowing your cost is a big deal.
Yep.
Knowing, especially in today's market, with the lumber prices the way they are, and knowing that you can buy in bulk at the price that you have, so you can build out McStain's project. I think that's a big win-win for you guys. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I think on the purchasing and procurement side, that's where, I think we're in the early stages of really realizing the real benefits there. I mean, we realize benefits in terms of waste savings. I think the place where we're currently spending a lot of our time on the technology development side is using those rich 3D models to really drive all of our purchasing as well. Because for me, actually, the 2D takeoff process like epitomizes everything that's wrong in the construction industry. It's just like the most inherently wasteful process. It's just everyone kicking the can down the road. And as we have these really rich models, like that data exists. We know every single stud, we know every piece of hardware, and we can use that data to drive better purchasing decisions and get really accurate data coming out of that model without that wasteful extra human effort that I find to be very frustrating.
Yeah, and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier, like kicking the can down the road, that field verify that, does the AC ductwork run into a steel beam because you use 2D, two-dimensional drawing versus a BIM and 3D where you can get past that. It's cheaper to do it in the office than it is in the field.
Yeah.
All day long.
No, and that's the, I think if I were to pinpoint the fundamental challenge within the industry, it is that, and you see it everywhere from, architects kicking the can to the engineer, the engineer kicks the can back to the architect, then they both kick the can to the builder, and then the builder kicks the can to the subs, and then, the subs kick the can to the super, and it just goes down the road, and ultimately gets built. There's a reason why the industry exists the way it does, but there's just a phenomenal amount of waste in there, and it's also waste that isn't necessarily, there's not a line item. It's just endemic throughout a whole bunch of different line items on the ultimate cost of that home, and we just kind of accept it.
Yeah, we do. And I can, Rick, how great would it be to never see field verifying your plans again? Wouldn't that be nice?
Jeez. Yeah, that would be great. It's I sympathize with the construction managers of the world because you guys are exactly right. I mean, the can always gets kicked down to them, and I think as an industry, the better we can do at figuring these things out early and giving everyone great information, it's only going to make the rest of us and the whole process more efficient.
We're going to make sure it's field verify, like the Ghostbuster symbol with the line through it. And
love it.
That's the goal.
I'll buy one.
I love it. So building desirable communities with high performance homes using offsite construction, Simple Homes worked with the University of Colorado Boulder on Solar Decathlon winning a house in Fraser, Colorado. So again, congratulations everybody. McStain Neighborhoods as their Be Well home. Tell us more about building healthy, comfortable, safe homes that are also high performance using offsite construction.
Yeah, so I guess I can talk a little bit about the Solar Decathlon and kind of our wall panel assembly, and then I'll let Rick take kind of what they're doing with the Be Well concept. For us, most of what we build today is we call our simple shell. It's framing, sheathing with integrated weather barrier, windows, and occasionally doors pre-installed, focused on getting our builders weather tight as quickly as possible. Our initial belief and our initial concept was really inspired by Sweden, where you see really high performance closed wall assemblies coming out of the factory. That's the norm. Basically, every house is built to the Pascal standard. It's an incredible thing to watch. I think our perspective relatively early in the game is that sort of became that the market's just not quite ready for that. It just becomes a little bit too difficult for builders to integrate. It messes up other scopes of work and other trades. It just becomes complicated. And so that's why we've kind of aligned on our current system. I think looking to the Solar Decathlon, that was a really cool opportunity for us to kind of test a true Scandinavian style panelized building system. So an insulated assembly, 2x8 walls, tried some cool, new materials like Kevlar wool in the cavity. So it was really a kind of R&D project for us, along with the students, to sort of say, what could this look like? So really cool opportunity there. I think our goal over time is to really say, all right, how can we offer a continuum of building systems from our simple shell all the way up to something that's really high performance, similar to what we worked on with the Solar Decathlon. So Rick, I don't know if you want to share about Be Well and the concept there.
Yeah, absolutely. McStain has a 50-some-odd year history of really building, great neighborhoods, great communities, and sustainability. I think, we were one of the first Energy Star builders in the country when that program first came out. And, I think we recognized a few years back that, admittedly, we were maybe falling behind a little bit on, keeping up with those values and making sure that we were building, to a really high standard, or the highest, pushing the envelope as far as the standard that we can build to. So the Department of Energy has the Zero Energy Ready Home program, which is a great program for builders. It's a really good way to really, improve the long-term, building envelope, windows, and mechanical systems of a home, and really kind of, get that third-party verification that what we're doing is, is certainly a couple steps ahead of certainly code build homes and even a lot of, other homes that you'd see in the market that are, so-called green. I think, once we sort of saw, the advantage of the Zero Energy Ready Home program, I think we sat down and talked more about, wow, we need to take this a step further. And that's kind of where Be Well came from, is, this concept of, not just energy efficiency, but really focusing in on, indoor air quality, building in great neighborhoods, land planning, walkability, and good design. I mean, those are all things that are in our DNA. And I think that, what we've tried to do with the Be Well program here is, really kind of wrap that all up into one, just kind of, marketing name, I guess, but it's really kind of, our philosophy on how we want to build things. So, every home that we build is a Be Well home. I think a lot of our new stuff is we partnered with a solar company, and we're doing solar standard in addition to Zero Energy Ready Home program. And, right now we're looking ahead and trying to find ways to continue to build on that and make our homes healthier and more efficient for our buyers.
Yeah, it just makes sense, right? I mean, in today's age, we can build healthier homes, we can build more efficient homes, we can build affordable homes. We can do all of these things, and homes that are going to last for people. Wanted to give a quick shout out on this as well. Painted Prairie community actually won the NAHB Best in American Living Award. I mean, that's a huge achievement. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about all these things you guys are doing. This is amazing. And this isn't some mega manufacturing facility. You're doing real work out of here, building communities, building healthier homes, building more environmentally friendly homes. And I think I got to commend both of you for all that. So congratulations for sure. So, all right, everybody, listen, I mean, I think that, can you believe it's an hour already? It's an hour already. It's an hour already. All right, so listen, everybody, if you have is there any more comments or questions to go through? So if you're out there and you want to learn more about Simple Homes, you want to learn more about the communities that won the Best NAHB, Best in American Living Awards, this is the place to do it right here. If you're in Denver, Colorado. What is your shipping radius? Like, where are you working?
So we're currently working kind of all across Colorado. We're doing most of our work here along the Front Range. We've got a bunch of work up in the mountains, actually. Really excited about that. A lot of fire recovery work actually up in Grand County near Winter Park. So we'll build about 10 homes up there this year. We've also got some projects on the Western Slope. We've got a really neat affordable housing development that is a finalist for the Ivory Prize, actually, which is really cool, with a couple big foundations here. And so that's outside of Telluride and Montrose, far Western Slope. But really, Colorado is our focus at this point. And our goal is to grow here, scale here, have a very meaningful impact on the kind of building community here, and then see how we can take this national.
Yeah, and that's the goal, is to go national.
Correct.
And to do that, are you looking to just have manufacturing facilities, franchise manufacturing facilities? Is there any game plan for that?
Yep, that's exactly the goal. I think right now we're focused on further fleshing out the system, further fleshing out our technology platform. But if we are able to continue down this path, keep doing the work and getting to the point where we believe we can get to, then we think we might be onto something. So
love it. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
How about you, Rick? What do you guys got going on at McStain? Anything we should be on the lookout for?
Hey, we're just continuing to sell out here at Painted Prairie. We've got Ayers Park kicking off up in Thornton, which is our next project. We got a few others in the works. So we've been here for 50 some years, and we're going to continue to try to be a big presence here in the Front Range housing market.
Well, I love it. Listen, Rick Lambert, Jeff, thank you so much for allowing us to come into your facility and showcase everything that's happening here. We're going to do some B-roll, and we're going to put that out as well so people can really see some of the other processes in place. Everybody, it's been another great show. I love it. Product Spotlight, we are on our road show. We are traveling across the country and we are live streaming into a lot of major universities across this country in collaboration with NAHB and the Student Housing Chapter with the NAHB. We had the award-winning Solar Decathlon folks on just the other day as well, and now we're with the people that actually help build all these projects. So with that said, my name is Dave Cooper. We will see you again tomorrow for a special event. We're going to have Forward Solutions Group on and Module Core. Forward Solutions Group has acquired Module Core, and we're going to have Ben Hershey on, Joe Butler, and Jordy Puchinger to talk about this conversation. You do not want to miss it. 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. This is the first you're hearing about it right here on DaveCooper.live, where we are making a difference in our world of offsite construction. So with that said, be sure to tune in tomorrow. And then on Friday at 1 o'clock, we will be live on BS Friday with Mark Barenaked, Willie, and myself. Going to be another show, 52 weeks. 1 year straight we've been doing that one. 52 weeks, we have not missed a show yet. So with that said, I'm Dave Cooper. Gentlemen, thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Bye now.